All right, let's dig into the Bronco Sport. Let's match it up with another compact crossover, the popular Toyota RAV4. Now, I want to stick to the off-roadiness of both of these because that's just the kind of gal I am. So let's go with the Bronco Sport in the Badlands trim and the RAV4 in the new TRD Off-Road trim. Now, to be clear, I haven't had the chance to drive either one of these, thanks coronavirus. So right now, we're just sticking purely to the numbers and the features here, comparing overall size and utility, engine options, off-road geometry, and price. Ready? Let's go! The Bronco Sport and the RAV4 are pretty similar in wheelbase, 105.1 inches for the Bronco Sport, 105.9 inches for the RAV4, but the similarities pretty much end there. Overall, the Ford is 172.7 inches long, while the Toyota is way longer at 181.5 inches. The Bronco Sport is 82.2 inches wide, while the RAV4 is a little bit more porky at 84.6 inches. The Bronco Sport stands 74.4 inches from the ground. The RAV4 is a little bit shorter at 68.6 inches. Looking at the track width, the Ford is 63.4 inches and 62.8 inches front and rear, while the Toyota is almost opposite, 62.6 inches and 63.3 inches front and rear. Moving inside, the Bronco Sport has 29.4 cubic feet of space behind that second row of seating, and the RAV4 has 37.5 cubes. The Bronco's space expands to 60.6 cubes when those seats are folded, while the RAV4 goes big, expanding to 69.8 cubic feet. In terms of towing and payload, the Bronco Sport can haul 1,000 pounds of gear, but the RAV4 squeaks out a little bit more at 1,050 pounds. The Bronco Sport can tow a respectable 2,200 pounds, but the RAV4 has got it beat with a whopping 3,500 pounds of maximum towing ability. Now, there are a few features of the Bronco Sport that I really dig, like the flip glass rear window and an integrated bottle opener in the cargo space, but the RAV4 utility numbers are just really good. It's got more space, and that tow rating is amazing for the class, so the win here goes to the RAV4. Moving on, let's talk about engines. While the Bronco Sport can be had with a 1.5-liter EcoBoost 3-cylinder engine on the base model, remember we're talking about the Badlands trim here with a 2-liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder engine, pushing out 245 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque, and that is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. The RAV4 also gets an 8-speed automatic transmission, but its 2.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine only produces 203 horses and 184 pound-feet of twist. Further, that torque in the Bronco Sport comes in relatively low at the power band at 3,000 RPM, and in the RAV4 you have to wait all the way until 5,000 RPM to get full twist. When the off-road mantra is as slow as possible, as fast as necessary, you're likely not going to be accessing this full torque when you're slowly navigating obstacles. So chalk one up for the Bronco Sport. All right, let's look at off-road prowess. Now, geometry numbers aren't necessarily the end-all be-all of performance, but they do give a good indication of how far a vehicle can get before getting stuck or damaged. The Bronco Sport has 8.8 inches of ground clearance, but the RAV4 isn't far behind with 8.6 inches. The Ford rides on maximum 29-inch Falcon Wild Peak all-terrain tires. The RAV4 is not far behind with the same brand and model, just sized down to 28.5 inches. However, the Bronco Sport in this Badlands trim has an approach angle of 30.4 degrees compared to the paltry 19 degrees in the RAV4 TRD Off-Road trim. The Ford's departure angle is 33.1 degrees compared to the 21 degrees in the Toyota. With the same wheelbase and similar tire size and ground clearance, I'd expect the breakover angles to be pretty close. The Ford is at 20.4 degrees, but Toyota was not able to provide us the breakover angle at the time of this recording. But even leaving out that breakover angle, just look at the departure and approach angles. I mean, that Bronco Sport is going to be able to get you way further into the wild than the Toyota. Price, however, is often the deciding factor. I mean, what good is capability if you can't afford it, am I right? The Ford Bronco Sport in Badlands trim with the upgraded tires that we use for this comparo is $34,650, and that includes $1,495 for destination. The Toyota RAV4 in TRD Off-Road trim will set you back $36,400, including $1,120 for destination. While I'm stoked that the Toyota is trying to bring some off-road cred to the RAV4, it just can't match the capabilities of the Bronco Sport, and it's more expensive to boot. Sure, it's got more towing and payload capability, and those features are on a lot of people's must-have lists, but if you prioritize adventure and dirtworthiness, you should probably lay down your dollars for the Bronco Sport. Now, will I change my mind when I drive the two? I mean, it's possible, but looking at those numbers, I'm going with the Bronco Sport. So, which would you rather, the Bronco Sport or the RAV4 in the TRD Off-Road trim? And hey, let me know what other comparos you'd like to see. Should we throw the Bronco Sport against something a lot bigger like the Jeep Cherokee? Let me know in the comments, and as always, like and subscribe while you're here.